All right, Case, you and I have talked a lot of football. Mm-hmm. I don't know if we've talked the number 4 overall pick with the Patriots.
Not together.
We've
had this. I think we've both badgered George.
Yes.
About this.
About offensive linemen talk.
About all of it. But, we haven't had a chance to have this conversation.
Okay, so I bring this up for a few reasons. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about pro days, because one guy who is on the Patriots draft radar, Ted McMillan, wide receiver from Arizona. The knock on him are people saying, well, he may be a little slow. He may not be fast enough. Well, at his pro day.
Fast enough for a sophomore quarterback?
I mean, 4.4 for Ted McMillan, the receiver I'm talking about. So a 4.4, I've seen some 4.5s. Here's the deal. He's fast enough. That's a big body guy, hands, can route you up. Fast as hell. He
6'4",
proved it.
219.
Proved it at his pro day. So I'm like, okay, Ted McMillan. Then Jalen Yoked Milroe, the quarterback out of Alabama, who looks more like a linebacker, ran a 4.37 40. That is ridiculous at a pro day.
He's hitting his protein mark hard.
Well, you know what's not impressive, though? When you put in the tape on him and you watch him throwing the ball. It's not great. So he's a great athlete. No doubt he's clearly a freak of nature to be that size and run a 4.37. But I just don't think he's a good quarterback. Do you buy into, before we even talk Patriots, do you buy into pro days and these workouts and it jumping some of these guys' draft stock? Or are you like me? Yes, it matters, but you want to see the tape of the kid.
Right.
Show me what you did on the field, not in joggers and working out.
Yeah, no, I lean towards the tape. I mean, growing up around football players, I saw a number of guys put up tremendous numbers and it didn't translate to the field. Or it translates to the field, but not in the timeline in which you need it or estimated that it would. So
Right.
It took them 3 years to properly apply that speed, that 4.3, that 4.4 to their routes. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I know a number of guys fast and we all get hung up on how quick he is, but anchoring the right routes, my goodness, it was painful to even watch him fail at that. And I understand it. Putting the pieces together, there's just so many other factors. The quarterback that you have, they have to have a quick release to be able to find you at the top of the route to complement your speed. So, yeah, I think it's fun to have measurables. I said this, I'm a numbers nerd, but I need to see tape. Mm-hmm. And I also need to know about your partner in crime and making those big moments happen. Mm-hmm. So when you're talking about quarterback to wide receiver, what were the metrics for your quarterback that helped you be that better of a wide receiver or vice versa?
Yeah.
So T-Mac, people are saying, or we're leaning into the saying slow, but big body for Drake May. You're talking about a team that needs better accountability with middle of the field plays. You look at some of the clutch plays he had for Arizona, regardless of what their season amounted to be. So don't hate it, but there's another guy I know we like more.
Travis Hunter. I mean, listen, hey, every mock draft I'm seeing now has Travis Hunter at number 4 to the Patriots, and I couldn't love it more. That's exactly who the Pats need, a playmaker on both sides of the ball who wants to play on both sides of the ball. You couldn't script this any better in Hollywood. So we caught up with Trevor Sikkema, who hosts the NFL Stock Exchange. He joined us on Foxborough Rush, and he laid out how realistic it really is to get Travis Hunter at 4.
I want to take you through the hypothetical. Let's say something insane happens, and let's say we see 3 quarterbacks go in the top 3. Jackson Dart earns his way to not just move in front of Shedeur Sanders, but someone takes Shedeur at 2, and then Jackson Dart at 3, or vice versa. Cam Ward goes. The New England Patriots, as we focus on this pod, at number 4, they have Will Campbell, Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter sitting in front of them.
Oof.
You are the man that puts in the final card. You have the final say. You and Mike Vrabel are in a great relationship. What are you doing, Trevor?
Yeah, we're buds. I mean, I've seen Mike Vrabel down at the Senior Bowl. I mean, I've seen him walking around and everything, said what's up to him before. He has no idea who I am. But, I've said what's up to him in passing before, so that makes total sense that we would have that relationship and he would give me that sort of power. It would be very intriguing to trade back. I would have the phones open for probably 15 straight minutes, the entire time that I would be allowed to have there. And my phones would be open and I would listen to all sorts of offers. I mean, I think that Carolina jumping up from number 8 could make sense. I think that, certainly maybe the New York Jets want to do the same thing, make a statement, go up and get the player that they want. The Chicago Bears, if they want to get aggressive. You're talking all these teams probably on the tail end of the top 10. I don't know if you want to get too much further past the top 10, honestly, because New England still needs to get a pretty good player. I'd think about trading down, but ultimately, I don't know, especially because it wouldn't be for a quarterback. I don't think we would get to a price that I'd be happy with taking over drafting Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter's my number 1 overall player that I have in this class. He's just a rare athlete. I mean, even beyond the fact that he played both sides of the ball and he played them so well over the last couple of years at Jackson State and then Colorado. It's just that he's the type of athlete that he is, the playmaker mentality that he have. We hear that from just some of the greatest athletes of all time. Sometimes, of course, they have to be extremely talented, but it's then that mental ability and how they process the game and just who they are as a playmaker that puts them in those top tier categories as some of the best that we can name. And I feel as though Travis has that sort of mentality to him. So I would not be passing on this player for much. And in New England's case, if he got to number 4, I'd be picking Travis Hunter for them.
So let's say Patriots take him at 4. What's your mentality of how you play this kid? Because you and I are in lockstep in terms of this team just needs playmakers, period. So are you leaning more wide receiver and then packages for him at corner or vice versa? What are you thinking in terms of the usage if the Patriots do draft him at 4th?
So at this point in time, to be honest with you, I'd let him play both and just figure out if he can do it. Because if he can't, you can always dial it back, right? So I'd almost give him, the full buffet of show us what you could do with your talent level. But for the Patriots specifically, it is a little bit interesting. I think what you should do with Travis Hunter is play him full-time as a corner. Because then you can have a handful of plays, like you mentioned, where he could play wide receiver for you. I don't really think you can do that vice versa. I don't know if you can have him be a wide receiver full time and then just say, hey, yeah, we're playing man coverage. Just go out there and cover this guy. It doesn't, the position doesn't really work like that. The defensive side of the ball doesn't really work like that, but he's a special player. So I'd probably, again, try it and let it fail before I don't try it at all. But for the Patriots, with them signing Carlton Davis and them already having Christian Gonzalez, you got a good nickel that you feel good about as well. Like, I wonder if they would just really rather have him be a playmaker on the offensive side of the ball. And I think he'd be incredibly productive. So in a vacuum, I'd rather him be a full-time starting corner with a handful of snaps at wide receiver. But for the Patriots specifically, becoming that wide receiver 1 probably has more value than saying that he's going to start for you full-time at corner.
Yeah, I love that point. And even Mike Vrabel has talked about his vision with the Carlton Davis is a cat defense. You got that cat, I got that cat.
Right.
Him and Christian Gonzalez. And if he's a full-time wide receiver, the money downs. 3rd down, 4th down, red zone. Hey, we're going to run man. You got this guy, and he's really good in the slot. So we could keep talking about Travis Hunter. I literally just tweeted out a quick mock I did myself where I got him at 4. You being at the Senior Bowl, you being at the Combine, is that a reality, though? Because I just can't fathom that you, me, and Travis are talking about just gushing over Travis Hunter, and we're going to see 3 different front offices go, yeah, we'll pass on him. We'll take Cam Ward, we'll take Shador Sanders, and we'll take out. I just can't fathom that happening. From what you've heard, from what you picked up, and what you see, do you think there's a real path of him falling to number 4?
I will not say that something is impossible because every single year the NFL draft teaches me that I cannot speak in absolutes when it comes to what's going to happen on night 1 of the NFL draft. I think it's pretty unlikely just because of what we talked about here. If we all love him so much that we'd sprint the card in at number 4, if he's on the board at number 4, you got to think these other teams would want to as well. And the only reason why, in my opinion, we're even entertaining this conversation is because of the desperate need of quarterbacks for all 3 of the teams that are picking above the Patriots. Ultimately, I think that I'm coming to grips with it could be a coin flip here that we get 2 out of those 3 picks are going to be a quarterback selection. I think it's very unlikely still that we would get 3 out of 3 be quarterback selections. And if there is one that isn't a quarterback, whether that's the Giants or whether that's the Cleveland Browns, I think that Travis Hunter will be the pick for one of those teams. He's just too good to pass up, in my opinion. And again, you just talk about the rareness of who he is as a football player. Even for as great as I think Abdul Carter can be in the NFL, I wouldn't be passing on a player like that. So There's always a chance. There's no doubt about it. But I feel like it's pretty unlikely that all 3 teams would pass on a kid as talented as him.
Thanks, Trevor. I feel the same way, except that, hate to take the air out of the room, but Cam Robinson just signed with the Texans.
Wow.
The taping of this podcast. So you know what that means. Go ahead and fire up the band for Will Campbell being drafted at number 4 overall by the Patriots. Whoop-de-doo, Casey Hudson.
Yeah, you really did pull the air out of here. Thank you for that.
Honestly,
we'll take the honesty. We'll take the honesty. But I mean,
just can't, Case.
Great to see Trevor, though. I'm glad that y'all got a chance to talk with him. I met him through my mentor, John Ledyard, and I actually met him at the Senior Bowl. So,
wow.
Yeah, that was
Shout outs
fantastic.
to Trev. He's good peoples. I'm not going to lie,
Good
Casey.
humans.
I'm not going to lie. If these boys pass on Travis Hunter, because they have to take Will Campbell now. You have to take him. If Travis Hunter's on the board and they take Will Campbell at number 4, I will rage out. And I just don't think they have a choice now. I really don't.
Well, generational talent and everything that Trevor just said there, I don't know if you bypass that because of.
Yeah, they're going to.
Yeah, you could speak more.
And then Will
to
Campbell
it.
has short arms. His arms are too short to play tackle. But you know what?
We still got
Thank
time to
God.
process. We still have time to process.